Welcome back to part 2 of our deep dive into the most problematic car engines still in production as of today, despite their notorious reputations. In the last video, I uncovered some of the least reliable engines still made, sharing insights on why certain designs just keep failing. These are bad engines still in production that many drivers and experts say you should avoid at all costs. From recurring breakdowns to high repair costs, this video will arm you with the knowledge you need to make better vehicle choices. Subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. First on our list, we have the Land Rover and Jaguar 2.0-liter Ingenium engine, both the diesel and gasoline versions, which launched in 2015 as part of JLR's effort to bring their engine production in-house. Before the Ingenium family, Jaguar Land Rover relied heavily on Ford-supplied engines, but with Ingenium, they aimed to improve efficiency, lower emissions, and gain full control over their powertrains. As a modular family, the Ingenium engines include a 2.0-liter four-cylinder with turbocharging, both in diesel and gasoline variants. This engine found its way into a variety of models, like the Land Rover Discovery Sport, Range Rover Evoque, and Jaguar F-Pace, to name a few. On the gasoline side, the 2.0-liter Ingenium is a turbocharged inline-four with dual overhead cams, variable valve timing, and direct fuel injection, giving it the modern touches you'd expect. The diesel counterpart shares much of the same layout, but uses different tuning and components suited for diesel combustion, plus a turbocharger optimized for low-end torque. Both versions were designed for performance and efficiency, but sadly, they've picked up a reputation that's hard to ignore. One of the main problems with the gasoline version is excessive oil consumption, which seems to stem from the turbocharger seals and, in some cases, the piston rings. Owners report filling up on oil as frequently as they do with gas, with some needing a quart every few hundred miles. And if you don't keep up, you're in for low oil levels, engine misfires, or even complete engine failure. The diesel version, while less prone to oil issues, has a few of its own severe problems. First is the notorious timing chain issue, with premature wear and stretching due to materials that simply don't hold up under real-world conditions. Over time, the chain stretches and causes piston valve slap, a nasty impact between the piston and valves that leads to catastrophic failure if not caught early. And it's not just the chain. Timing chain plastic guides, which the chain runs on, deteriorate quickly, chipping away and sometimes blocking vital oil passages. This results in oil starvation in critical parts of the engine, adding to repair costs and owner frustration. But that's not all. The diesel's diesel particulate filter, or DPF, has also been a nightmare for many owners. The filter tends to clog frequently, especially in stop-and-go city driving where the exhaust doesn't get hot enough to burn off the soot. When the DPF clogs, owners report poor acceleration, warning lights, and even limp mode, which severely restricts engine power. JLR has issued multiple recall for oil consumption, timing chain, turbo, and other issues from 2018 onward. However, fixes weren't always effective, leaving customers with the same problem. Recently, a class action lawsuit was filed against Jaguar Land Rover North America over repeated issues like oil consumption, timing chain wear, engine failures, and DPF blockages. To address these problems, JLR has since updated both versions of the Ingenium engine with reinforced timing chains, improved oil sealing, and updates to the DPF system, but only time will tell if these changes hold up. For now, the 2.0-liter Ingenium's reputation remains a challenge for JLR owners. Alright, let's see the BMW N63 engine, BMW's infamous 4.4-liter twin-turbocharged V8. This engine made its debut in 2008, designed as an all-out performance engine for luxury models like the 7 Series and later expanding to various models across BMW's lineup. It replaced the naturally aspirated N62 V8, with the goal of increasing power and efficiency. The N63 was also BMW's first V8 to use twin-scroll turbochargers placed within the hot valve of the engine, configuration meant to reduce turbo lag and boost performance. The idea was that by placing the turbochargers between the cylinder banks, exhaust gases would have a shorter path to the turbos, which in theory should lead to faster spooling and quicker response. This N63 engine is a twin-turbo V8 with a dual overhead cam setup, BMW's Vanos variable valve timing, and direct injection. BMW wanted to push the limits on this engine to deliver incredible power across a wide range of RPMs. And yes, they succeeded in giving it impressive numbers on paper. But in reality, it came with more baggage than many owners could handle. This engine can be found in models like the 2009 to 2015 BMW 750i, X5 xDrive 50i, X6 xDrive 50i, and even the high-performance M550i xDrive. The problem? It's notorious for oil consumption issues, timing chain failures, turbocharger problems, injector and high-pressure pump failure, and various heat-related failures. Let's break these down. One of the biggest problems that haunts the N63 is its excessive oil consumption, with some owners needing to top up their oil after just a few hundred miles of driving. This oil-burning problem often starts around 40,000 miles, though it can appear earlier, especially for those who love spirited driving. BMW attributed this to the engine's internal design and the high heat generated by the hot V turbo placement, and tried to fix it in the later iterations. This is not exactly what you'd expect in a high-end luxury vehicle. Then, there's the infamous timing chain issue. Due to the engine's high temperatures and the stress put on its components, the timing chain wears out prematurely, sometimes failing as early as 50,000 miles. This has left many owners stranded and facing enormous repair bills. BMW even issued a technical campaign called Customer Care Package to replace timing chains, vacuum pump and fuel hoses on certain N63 models, which was essentially an unpublicized recall to address widespread failures. On top of that, turbocharger failures are common with this engine. Because of the high heat hot V setup, the turbos are under constant thermal strain, and over time, this setup causes them to fail. When the turbo goes, the power loss is substantial, and the repair bill even more so. Another common issue with the N63 engine is coolant leaks, which seem to be a trademark of BMW engines in general, with leaks often occurring from the valve cover gasket, front and rear main seals, oil pan gasket, radiator, and even the water pump. BMW attempted several recalls and technical service bulletins to address the N63's issues. Their approach was to offer software updates, modified oil sensors, and extended warranties on specific parts. But for many, this was too little, too late. BMW has made attempts to improve the N63 over the years through multiple iterations, with newer variants like the N63TU, N63TU2, and N63TU3, with each generation addressing specific issues and refining weaknesses like redesigning turbos, updating valve stem seals, and improving cooling. Still, many enthusiasts and potential buyers remain wary of this engine's history, and for good reason. If you're enjoying this video, hit that subscribe button to support the channel. Next, we have the Stellantis PureTech engine, a powertrain that began its journey in 2013 with high hopes and green credentials. Designed to offer fuel efficiency and meet the tough European emission standards, the PureTech was Stellantis' answer to the demand for smaller, peppy engines. It's part of a broader family of small, turbocharged engines, mostly three-cylinder layouts, with a popular 1.2-liter displacement. This engine powers various Peugeot, Citroën, DS, and Opel models, like the Peugeot 208, Citroën C3, DS3, and Opel Astra. While it was meant to be a fuel-sipping marvel, it quickly gained a bit of a reputation, and not the good kind. The PureTech family covers engines ranging from 1.0 to 1.6 liters, but the 1.2-liter turbocharged version stands out for all the wrong reasons. It's a turbocharged, direct-injected engine with dual overhead cams and variable valve timing to help improve efficiency and performance across different driving conditions. So, what sets the PureTech apart? One groundbreaking feature is its timing belt, which instead of being housed in air like we normally know, it runs in oil, much like a chain. From my freshman automotive engineering courses, I remember that timing belts are praised for not needing lubrication and being easy to replace, while chains, being tougher, do require oil. PureTech's oil-immersed rubber belt effectively combines the downsides of both. I don't understand why on earth someone with a title of engineer does this. Due to the oil exposure, the belt gradually disintegrates, leading to pieces of it clogging up the oil pickup and causing oil starvation. And to add an insult to the injury, the oil gets aggressive over time due to the blow-by gases. And we all know engines and low oil pressure don't get along. Or the stretching may result in misfire and kill the engine before you notice oil starvation. PureTech engines also suffer from turbo and oil consumption issues, largely due to failing oil control rings, which leads to that dreaded blue smoke out the tailpipe. There's also the PCV valve issue, which can cause excessive crankcase pressure, further deteriorating the engine's lifespan and leaving owners with yet another costly repair. Stellantis has issued several recalls and technical service bulletins since 2018 to address these timing belt issues, but the real headline was a 2021 recall that required inspection of the belt's width and updated engine management software. Some reports say Stellantis initially denied covering certain turbo and belt-related issues, leading frustrated owners to join class action lawsuits. In the latest generation, Stellantis finally ditched the wet belt and introduced an updated version of the PureTech with a revised timing belt design. A major revision was introduced in 2021, and while it has reportedly reduced complaints, time will tell if these adjustments resolve the problems or merely postpone them. Finally, we have the infamous BMW PSA 1.6 Prince engine, an engine with a legacy of issues that are still haunting owners. Interestingly, this engine won 8 consecutive International Engine of the Year awards in the 1.4 to 1.8-liter category, celebrated for its compact and efficient turbocharged design. The Prince engine first debuted in 2006 as a product of collaboration between BMW and Peugeot Citroën, aimed at producing a compact, efficient, turbocharged engine for small and mid-size vehicles. This engine was designed to replace the previous TU series engines and was meant to meet strict European emissions standards while delivering strong performance. In theory, it sounded perfect for a modern, fuel-efficient car. But in reality, it quickly earned a bad reputation, becoming a nightmare for thousands of owners. The Prince engine family includes 1.4-liter and 1.6-liter inline-4 options, with the 1.6-liter being the most widely used and, unfortunately, the most problematic. It was offered in both naturally aspirated and turbocharged versions, with models like the Peugeot 207, Peugeot 308, Citroën DS3, Mini Cooper, and some BMW 1 Series models relying on it. The Prince engine is a direct-injected 4-cylinder, DOHC with BMW's Valvetronic variable valve timing. It is notorious for a long list of problems that make it a headache for many owners. Excessive oil consumption, timing chain stretching, oil leak from several points, and head gasket failure are few of the common issues. This engine became known as a thirsty Prince because of its excessive oil consumption, often due to poor piston ring design and the low-viscosity oil recommended by the manufacturer, and, in some cases, failing valve seals. This engine also suffers from overheating, largely due to repeated water pump failures, leaving many drivers stranded by the side of the road. Timing chain and tensioner issues are equally troublesome, as the chain often stretches or the tensioner weakens prematurely, causing rough running, poor timing, and in severe cases, catastrophic engine failure. BMW's Valvetronic variable valve timing has also led to durability issues. The problems were so widespread that both PSA and BMW Mini had to issue several recalls and technical service bulletins. Lawsuits weren't far behind, especially in the UK and Europe, where owners pushed back against BMW and PSA. The BMW PSA 1.6 Prince engine is a cautionary tale in the world of small turbocharged engines. The good news is that in recent years, Stellantis has made some updates to the engine in newer Peugeot and Citroën models. However, many owners are still wary, and the Prince engine's reputation has yet to fully recover. Subscribe to the channel if you are still here.